Hey guys, I'm Kaitlyn.
I'm Sarah,
and who usually says it?
I'm Sarah. I'm Kaitlyn, and we are your best friends.
We say it together.
Yeah, I tend to say it, and you'll just add the best.
I just jumped in. Okay, try again. Hey guys,
I'm Sarah.
I'm Kaitlyn,
and we are your best friends.
Yeah, that was better.
That was it.
Okay. I'm so excited because today we are talking about our non-negotiables in dating. We just did a video on waiting till marriage to have sex. So now we're talking about some boundaries, some lines we are drawn in the sand for our personal lives.
Also, quick question. With lines drawn in the sand, I've never understood that. Because if you draw it in the sand, the water comes, it's basically not a solid line. So I don't get it.
I guess it's just...
Is it a saying, though, about, like, I drew a line in the sand?
Yeah, it's basically just, like, I don't know. I think it's the principle of the fact that there's a line.
Okay.
But you're right.
Drawn a line in the cement.
The girl's got a point. What can I say?
Okay.
Fine. Line in wet cement that will dry and will become fortified. Yes. That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, this once again is more about us. We don't want to assume that you guys know where Kaitlyn and I stand personally. We want to be honest. We do strive to live holy lives in our personal lives in front of God because we are going to be held accountable to God. We're not too worried about being held accountable to men. So I think that's why we're sharing this, because a lot of us are just searching for people who do what they say they're going to do, live a life of how they talk. So I think it's going to be a really valuable video to share because our mistakes are in here, things we would change are in here, and things we're looking forward to are in here, and lots of tips and stuff that we ourselves are following.
Exactly. It's just going to be really honest.
Yeah.
With that, please subscribe to our channel. We are so happy because we are right now 10 subscribers away from 800.
Yes.
And we rejoice over every single new subscriber because you are a part of our friendship now. So please subscribe.
And check out our website, yourbestfriends.org, if you ever want to know why we're even on YouTube.
That's right, girl.
Yeah. So with that, let's just get into it, my friend.
All right, girl.
And also, you guys are going to realize that we have pretty much the same non-negotiables, but we'll add in personal things as well.
Experiences.
Yeah, that maybe like trigger me more than her or whatever. Yeah. What's the first one that we wrote down?
Okay. Physical boundaries. In our last video, we're waiting till marriage to have sex, but also just in general, what are our physical non-negotiables that we want to try to uphold in dating?
What I've learned through mistakes and through time, being a human being. Thank goodness for repentance. Jesus Christ is so good. I only learned this within the last year, but there are 3 ways that we can connect with people: physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Throughout the video, I'll talk about it more. But when it comes to physical, I have learned that we can really screw ourselves when we advance the physical, meaning kissing, and then on and on and on. We can screw ourselves because we can become connected in that sense and neglect so many other areas of a relationship. And before you know it, it's quite possible you're dating somebody for reasons that aren't even healthy for a marriage. It's kind of as simple as that. That's why if you will ever ask us, like, what to do, what not to do, what boundary, what not boundary, how could we ever answer that question? It's not about checking a box. It's also like, this is a person who's going to be a father or mother of your children. This is a person you're going to be with for the rest of your life. So why not take it slow? Why not take things so low stakes to where, hey, 8 months down the road, you guys didn't physically connect too much. You were just all there, like, friendship wise, and it's healthy. And if it doesn't work out because you guys see it's really not working out, then you can leave each other with not too much physical damage and connection that wasn't even intended to be that way.
Exactly. And the physical stuff, I think that's a good point about the connection, because it just brings connection that's not meant to be there until you're married.
Yeah.
And I know what I would have appreciated when someone who's 22, when I was 16, talking about physical boundaries is like, I wanted just somebody to be like, how far is too far? Like, for someone to answer that very technical check the box question, I would say for my personal life, and I'm sure Sarah feels the same, but you know when things are getting spicy, y'all.
And you know how you feel afterwards. Like, if you're of the world too, I want to make it clear, if you're of the world and you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, then you might not feel the conviction that we feel. But when you walk with Jesus Christ, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and so even if, let's say, you didn't technically have sex, or you didn't technically cross a line that you've set, that's the box checked, if you're living with the conviction of the Holy Spirit, you know, even if you didn't check that box, like you're saying, when you cross the line, and it's when things are getting spicy, and no one's perfect, and that's why we need Jesus Christ.
And depending on your past too, things can hurt you more. I started realizing, like, whenever I'd go too far or make a mistake physically, I would just feel like a failure with no self-control. And believe me, like, I hit really low lows. Even if it wasn't a perfect portrayal of reality, like, even if things technically were fine and nothing went that far, the way that I felt was like a failure.
Yeah.
So in the moment, I loved the spice. I loved it all in the moment, right? And then afterwards, I'm left feeling low again, like and only just recently from your video that you made, I would always wonder, the video, what was your video called?
How do I know I'll go to heaven?
Yeah.
Card.
Only through that video, I would always wonder, what is the discipline of the Lord? What is that they're talking about? But actually, the gift that God gives us Christians it's that feeling of discomfort when you sin, because for a long time, I felt discomfort and I hated myself and stuff. But it's almost like I've passed the test. Like, I am now more righteous. I'm thankful for that gross feeling. I'm thankful for that empty feeling afterwards, because it kept not letting me settle. Like, it kept not letting me be fine with sin. That's also something that I learned from your video just this week, and I see it now. The discipline of the Lord is this sweet, sweet thing that can convict you so that you don't settle for a life that you weren't meant to have, but better.
Yep, and so that you're not living in cross boundaries that you weren't meant to cross.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Next.
Covered that.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Next.
All right, next.
With that being established, that was a good one to start off with.
I felt so bad. I said no. You're next.
It's okay. Okay, living together before marriage. Is that a boundary that we would cross in a relationship?
No.
Heck no.
Heck no. I don't know how I could live with somebody and not have sex with them.
It's so true. If you're trying to wait till marriage, if you're tempted 24/7, literally, why are you going to throw yourself into that?
You know, it's kind of weird too, but being a college student, I've realized that it used to be that living together was a obvious no-no. Like,
yeah,
why would I always had my practical reasons too. Like, why ruin the surprise? Like, why live with somebody? Why not wait until after the wedding and enjoy that new life together?
Or like, what changes then once you get married?
Exactly. What do you have to look forward to? And I know a lot of like worldly people, they're going to say, well, how will you ever know how they are?
Yeah.
Okay, the love of Christ is like, you choose somebody and you commit to it. But aside from that, in college, I started noticing it's so common. It's like, well, it's just cheaper to live together. That's the big one. It's cheaper. And it's like, when you have roommates and stuff, it's so easy for all of a sudden a boyfriend to become a roommate.
Yeah. Easy.
So it kind of stinks, because it's becoming more common, and like, it's just for the money, or it's just for these things. But y'all, we can go to God with those things. If it's about the money, you can go to God about the money. I'm telling you, He will provide for you. He will provide a different roommate. He'll provide a different situation.
Yeah.
We want to lay down bricks of righteousness, because once again, the connections that we could build with someone prematurely before marriage, we don't know what your life will look like if you just kind of settle. I'm speaking to myself. That's really how I see it.
Yeah, and like, we're living in a generation that's not even getting married. Marriage is not even a thing that's valued by most of this generation, so it makes sense why more people are just like, why not live together?
Yeah.
Because who knows, I might not get married till I'm 40 and we could date for 20 years, you know? Marriage is where the covenant is. Marriage is where you made that commitment. People tend to treat dating like marriage, and that's not healthy. Even my boyfriend now, who I've been dating for 5 years, I don't want to treat him like he's my husband, because I don't have that right yet, and he doesn't have that right yet. We still have to earn the covenant. If we're going to enter in that, there's still something that needs to be proven, because once I'm married to somebody, I ain't going anywhere. And I think when it comes to living together, well, you just crossed a mental, emotional, every boundary you've just stepped over, and
you're living in marriage without the covenant. That's that.
And so that's why I personally would not.
And also, just to be clear though, if any of these things are you guys, we feel no sense of judgment towards you. It's not our job to place judgment on you. We love you so much. All we are is directors to the cross, to his goodness, to the repentance that he offers if you've been feeling something lately. So I just want to definitely add that in there as we continue, because we love you, and I'm imperfect, Kaitlyn's imperfect, all of our friends are imperfect. That doesn't change anything when it comes to the love that we have for y'all.
Just quickly with that too, this video, we talk about these things. Who knows, if you're doing some of these things, it could encourage you to take a really big leap of faith with God. Because it's a big leap of faith if you're living with your boyfriend right now and you hear two girls talking about it and you're now feeling convicted by it. So that's why we also say no judgment, because some of these things we say to you, because it might be from God to encourage you to make a change, and that's exciting for you. So regardless of what you're doing, we love you guys. So
yeah, so much.
Next, non-negotiable. What about sleepovers?
No, but I've done it.
I have too. So I've had my fair share of sleepovers with my boyfriend, but if I could go back and do it all over again,
I would.
I would not. Well, you meant you would, as in you
I would not do it.
Yeah. I would do it all over.
I would do that all over again.
Sometimes it's hard because I would just be there and we're just hanging out. Maybe I'm hanging out with his family. We just had a fun day and I only live 15 minutes away and it's 8 o'clock at night. So it's like, why not stay for another 30 minutes? And then it's 9 o'clock and it's like, why not stay for another 30 minutes? And it's 10. I'm doing the math wrong, but I would make that boundary with myself. And then sometimes I would fail myself and I would accidentally sleep over. And even not talking about it from the physical standpoint of it, like obviously the physical temptation, but also just the practical side of it. I want to spend my mornings by myself until I'm married. I just don't think it doesn't put me in the healthiest mindset to be spending that much time with my boyfriend.
Yeah. I have two things that I learned from it. One, Kaitlyn and I are leaders and I want to live a life of integrity. So even if boundaries physically weren't crossed during sleepovers, I still knew that I wasn't living quite yet then a life of integrity, honestly. Yeah. Because I want to live a life that is clean behind closed doors and in front, like I always say. I really do. So for me, I had this heaviness that came from knowing like, this is just not right because it's not right. Like, you know when something's not right. Yeah. You feel it. You know it. And I would take it back. I didn't know any better. And I would say if you're a parent watching this too, or if you're a kid watching, you know, it would be cool to have more parents, like, be more observant of the relationship and stuff. Like, I'm glad my parents were chill and stuff, but the same time, you know, it would be easier if it was just like a
clean cut. No. Somebody helped you out. No.
Yeah. Heck no, that's never allowed. Get him out of here.
And if you can, honestly, the last thing I'll say on this, if you're just getting into a relationship, if you set that boundary from the beginning, this goes with any of them, it is much easier to keep it up if you haven't crossed it yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing in my relationship. It's going to be that way from the beginning, and it's not changing.
Because the second you cross it one time, whatever boundary it is we're talking about, it's just easier the next time, and it's easier the next time, and it's easier. So whether it's sleepovers or physical stuff or whatever. So if you're just getting into a relationship where you haven't yet, don't go into the mindset of, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, it's just one night, but I know that we're not going to be wanting to doing this we're not going to be wanting to do this all the time because that's just not setting you up for success. Another boundary. How about taking time to open up or guarding your heart? I think you got some stuff on this, girl.
Okay, I'll spill. So, a non-negotiable in dating. Definitely need to guard your heart. definitely need to take your time. If you don't know any better, let me educate you, let me help you the same way that I was thankfully educated and helped. Once again, physical, spiritual, and emotional connections, you guys. These things are powerful. An emotional connection would look like sharing trauma that's happened to you in your life, or if you just went through a breakup and now you're talking to another guy or girl and you're sharing that stuff. Sharing super fast, super soon, not having any boundaries or like prudence, waiting a little bit before you speak, that could create an emotional connection before you guys even know if you like everything. Spiritually, that's looking like y'all go to church together, you pray together, you do all these spiritual things together, and it could make you, I know us girls, it could make us think he must be the one, you know, and we still have practical things that we gotta look at before we know if he's the one. And then physical as well. So if you enjoy kissing this person, if you guys enjoy the way you snuggle and touch and stuff, and they remind you of home, all those, that can make you forego all of the other things that you need to figure out for marriage. And so we see all these connections that could happen if we're super quick. So what I would just say, a non-negotiable for me is I want to take my time. I want to be prudent. And if somebody I'm talking to pushes me to speak too soon or to express something that I'm not ready to express or to be somebody that I'm not, that's a non-negotiable. I can't deal with that pressure. I need understanding. I need love that looks like patience, kindness, not being too pushy on me. Like, that's a non-negotiable for me, and it should be for you as well. You are so allowed and need to be able to guard your heart and take your time. You know, and there's a quick difference between guarding your heart because you have pain and stuff and some immaturities, and then there's a guarding your heart that's the beautiful kind of queen, king kind of thing.
Queen, king.
Yeah, where you know your worth. You know that you don't have to share faster or do faster in order to keep them. That's what I'm talking about, is that slow, quiet confidence. Now, if it has to do with you're in pain or if you have a lot of hurt and you don't share because you're anxious, what they're going to say, that's different. But
and I would say that, okay. But I would say the immature one, oftentimes it's not even a conscious decision. Sometimes when it's coming from a place of pain, sometimes it is. But sometimes that's when you're thinking about it before and you're like, okay, I could share, but I know that I'm not going to because it would be wiser at this point. You know, that's usually just coming from a place of prudence. Just think of it practically this way. Say you're dating a guy or a girl, and one thing that you want, if you had to write down a list, now no one that you marry is going to be perfect, but let's say you had to write down a list of what some great qualities in a partner would be. And one of those is that they have a great, healthy family. Maybe you want their parents to have a healthy marriage or whatever. Okay, healthy family. That is a good quality to have. That's going to help with your marriage. That's going to set you guys up for success. But if you get entangled too fast, something like that, one of those more seemingly superficial qualities that you want in a person, or maybe even them being adventurous or them being
super funny. Like, those superficial qualities are not going to be a reason to break up with somebody once you get in really deep and you've shared the traumas and you've shared the physical. And you're 1 year in.
Because then you look superficial for breaking up with them like that after all this time. So that's
for this little thing.
Exactly. And so that's why it's really important to be prudent when you're dating and not open up, so that you can objectively analyze this person's qualities, not in a selfish way, but just genuinely, is this person going
to protect them and to protect you?
Both of you. Exactly. Because otherwise, those little things that you looked over in the beginning may add up later. Or if you do marry that person, because we are all going to marry imperfect people regardless, you know, those are things that you're going to have to work through. And they're going to carry into your family. So you just got to decide if you want to deal with that before get all the emotional crap involved.
Yeah.
I'll actually loop these two together because they're two small ones.
Okay.
One, vacations together, yes or no, and how late is too late to be hanging out in general, which we kind of went over that one when we talked about sleepovers. For vacations, I will say me and Cameron have gone on vacations before. We've never gone on a vacation, though, just him and I don't think so. I'm thinking. for the most part, me and Cameron have always gone on vacations with his family, not necessarily just Cameron and Kaitlyn planning a vacation. That being said, though, I don't always think it's the wisest. I would say the best case scenario if you are going to go on a vacation with a boyfriend or girlfriend, which I have been practicing, is don't sleep in the same bed if you can avoid it. I mean, I would just be wise about it because I don't always think it was the wisest decision. If I had to do it over again, I would really only go on vacations where we could sleep in separate beds or separate rooms and I was with his family, because there's no need to be going on vacation just with your boyfriend, I personally feel.
Non-negotiable for me is if I was to go on a vacation alone or in general, I would make sure that we're on the same page. So like, okay,
That's
it's
good.
still low stakes. We're friends still. Even if you're like entering in a relationship, you always want to make sure it's still a friendship. I would make sure like we both get it, because it would just, once again, with the whole emotional connection, imagine building up all of these fun memories, all these things, and yet still being unsure of like the future. Non-negotiable for me is making sure like it's all on the same page. Like, I'm not going to be going alone on a vacation with somebody if they're thinking they're getting some or something.
Yeah.
That wouldn't make sense. It's very clear. I mean, I would want to be in a relationship with someone. It's very clear. If anything, they're stronger on our goals. My personal goal is that in marriage, before that, I want to live a life of integrity, and I want to have a friendship with the person I'm going to get married to. I want to have fun, want to enjoy, don't want to feel anxiety. I want to be led by peace, not passion, so.
That's a good line right there, girl.
Yes. And so that being said, it's not black and white. It's just something that it depends on you and your partner. You don't want to be going on vacation alone with somebody if in their head or in your head, it's all for like, ooh, what are we going to do and stuff. You want it to keep it as if you're going with your best friend.
Yeah. It's not black and white because not everyone can handle that. There have been points in my life where I know like I can't handle that.
And also too, with what Kaitlyn and I are doing now, moving forward, I like I said, I see myself as a leader. If I were to do a vacation alone, it would be different rooms and everything. Like, I can't I don't want to afford to make it look like it's something that it's not. I don't care what people think, but I also don't want to make it look like it's something that's not.
Exactly so. And then the final one is also just another black and white one, but how late is too late to be hanging out? And I think it kind of is the same answer as the vacations for me, because it kind of depends on how much self-control you have. For some people, it works really well that it's like after 7 p.m., no hanging out. I'm going to go home. Some people have really good, like they can uphold that and that's cool and they go home. Other people, they say 7 p.m. and I have done this, and then I'm leaving at 10 p.m. because I was just having so much fun and we were watching a movie and it was just a good time. You really have to be wise about yourself. I would say though, hanging out really late at night in general, after 10 p.m. is probably not wise.
Yeah. And I'm going to
do that.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with everything you just said and then add in my last little holistic answer. And I want to make sure that whoever's listening to this and you're getting any inspiration, that you feel like you have a sort of purpose, because we could be talking to two different people. Like, some of you guys don't do much with your life. Like, life could just be work. I mean, you could be really bored in maybe middle school and high school and you just want somebody to fulfill your boredom. Yeah. Or you could be somebody who feels like they're heading somewhere. They've got somewhere they're going. They're walking with the Lord. Those two people, their boundaries are going to look different.
Yeah.
I see myself as the one walking with the Lord, meaning I realistically don't have that much time to be like all the time with somebody just like late every night. Because the next morning I got to record a video with Kaitlyn. I have to work out. I want to be reading my Bible by myself. I have these things, which personally too, there's been times where my self-control goes out the door and I give my life to everybody else and I feel like a wreck for 2 weeks because I've been trying to please everyone. But holistically speaking, that makes it easier. When you have a purpose, when you have a plan for your life, when you're trying to get somewhere, where you're trying to help people, when you're trying to create something, you don't have much boredom, but rather you want to have a healthy life and friendship with your partner where you guys are moving somewhere. But if you're in the relationship, or if you are wanting something because you don't have much purpose, you think, and you're bored and you want sad needs and desires to be filled, well, these boundaries are going to be much harder to keep because it's all it is. And I've been there. I know you've been there. So I would say that too. God might really want you to start going to him, because I'm telling you, he has called us all. He loves us so much, and he has a good plan and purpose for each of our lives. It's just many of us, nobody loved us enough to tell us that. And we die not knowing that we had a good life ahead of us. And good doesn't mean picture perfect, the American dream, but good is like good life with God. So wanted to throw that out there as well.
And I think that's a good place to end it. We covered a lot of stuff. If you guys want to have a part 2 on this, or you want some more questions, you can always comment them, because we really like responding and making videos off people's comments. Yeah, we hope that you got some clarity and guidance from this video.
And you got to know us a little better, because that felt a little real.
Yeah, that was a real video. We love you guys. Subscribe to our channel.
And we will see you in the next video.
Bye.